Doom, 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 doom. They should turn the video game Duck Hunt, like Duck Hunt, into a AAA level game, GTA style, open world. That would be dope. Like I'm talking about, like the original Duck Hunt for Nintendo. I think that'd be crazy if they did it right. I don't know where that idea came from, but I was just thinking about how like Nintendo had rebooted all their original games multiple times over, Zelda, etc. so forth. But Duck Hunt, they never touched Duck Hunt. Anyways, this is your guy, Jaron Ikner, back again with another video. Random live show, no name. We just out here enjoying life, still in quarantine. Working on this movie today, so I figure I'd hop on, shoot the shit with y'all, keep the ball rolling. Hope you guys are staying healthy, staying beautiful. This is what I do to get you guys to, or try to convince you guys to help fund my film, The Bond. There's a link in the caption. Go check it out. The trailer's up. It's doing pretty well. People seem to like it. It's nice. Yeah, multimedia artist doing his damn thing. So today I want to talk about a couple of things, but first I'm going to share this all the appropriate groups that I participate in on the internet and get that going. And then I'm gonna smoke this bowl I have here. Some people got mad at me for doing this last time. Like, why you gonna make all your shit about smoking weed? Like, bro, whatever, man. Whatever, man. I'm gonna live my best life. Best life 2021. That's the mantra. Let's see. Yeah, get all that out. Get all that out. You can see this too. That's good. All right. So today I want to talk about storytelling, because that's kind of what I do, storytelling. And I want to talk about what makes interesting storytelling, like what makes a story like really compelling, or what makes a character compelling, and what makes something that you want to watch or listen to or read or whatever it is. And one thing that I was taught in film school, real quick, is that a lot of this comes down to the choices that the character makes. And it sounds kind of obvious, but typically speaking, when you're watching something or engaging in something and you're watching a character be a character, oftentimes you place yourself in their position. And this is what makes a connection with a good character, because you're watching it and you're like, man, I really resonate with so and so. I feel that. But, and this is more so in TV shows than in movies, what makes a character so compelling is that oftentimes they make decisions that you wouldn't make. And you're like, why would you do that? Oh my God, why would you? And it's kind of like reverse psychology, but because of this, it makes you so much more invested in the character, because this is a character that you care about, that you've grown to fall in love with, and now they're making decisions that you wouldn't make. Or maybe they make decisions that you do that you would make. But one exercise that one of my very first screenwriting teachers taught me was the room exercise. And what the room exercise is basically imagine yourself in a room, blank room. Maybe there's a table in there, but there's nothing else in this room besides you, and there's a door. Outside the door is a guard. Okay, and maybe there's an air vent. Now, the exercise that we were given was that you would have to write 10 ways to get out of the room. Like 10 ways to get out of the room. Now, if you don't know any of the fine details, like you don't know if that guard is evil or maybe he's protecting you, you know what I'm saying? You just know that the exercise is you have to write 10 ways to get out of the room. So this is a very fun exercise, and this shit kind of blew my mind when we did it because, you know, the obvious one is like, oh, go through the door and punch the guard in the face, or knock on the door, or hide, or like crawl through the vent. Like all the obvious ones, you know, are the first 5. But when you get into those bottom 5, like when it's like, all right, I already know the obvious ones. Now how do I get out? Maybe I dismantle the table and I dig a hole or something like that. You start to get really, really creative. And typically speaking, when it comes to movies and screenwriting and TV and all that such, it's those bottom 5 choices that are the most interesting, because they're the choices that people don't usually think about. They're the choices that really flex the creativity of writing and storytelling, where it's like, oh, well, maybe he strips down naked and the guard walks in and is like, what the hell? And then like he, I don't know, slaps him with his penis. I don't know, something like that. But the idea is that the more interesting you can make the encounter, the more compelling or more compelled your audience is going to be. And it's really something that makes storytelling a beautiful process, because oftentimes when you think about this aspect, it makes your situations interesting. Because one of the biggest mistakes that we run into as screenwriters is that we tend to just go with the first instinct of what's going to happen. Like, oh, so-and-so's running up on you, and you're going to punch him in the face because that's what we're doing. We're making a fighting movie. But it's like, well, not necessarily the case, right? Like, the idea is that you want to keep your audience engaged. Another prime example, or this is a much more prime example, is Breaking Bad, Heisenberg. And the fact that, you know, most people who enjoy that show because of how the character got from point A to the end of the series. It was less about the why, because the why was stated in the first episode, and we knew what the why was. And it goes back to the writing exercise. It's like, the why is that you're getting out of the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Because you need to get the hell out of the room. That's what we told you to do. Same thing with Breaking Bad. The why is established in the very first episode. And what's intriguing about that is that, and this is what makes Breaking Bad top tier writing, is that the why for Walter White changes throughout the show. The why becomes less about his health and making money for his family, and more about the power struggle. And that why is presented through his decisions and his choices. Like, he chooses to make that decision. It's not forced upon him. He's not like kind of going through the motions. He's making these choices that, once again, going back to the top of my video, compel the viewer to be like, well, why would you do that? Like, you have your money, you have everything that you need. Why are you doing that? Even though you were invested as a viewer watching Walter White, especially if you're in season 4 or 5 at this point and you love the show, and you're like, man, this dude's doing it. You know what I'm saying? He beat Gus and did all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got millions of dollars. Why are you still going? That it brings you in. And it's that idea of going against what you think should happen. You can still reach the same goals if you're writing a story. If you're writing a story about, I don't know, a lone spaceman on a planet who is approached by a mystical guy and tells him that, yo, you got powers, and now you should go use these powers to go save the universe. The decision making, or the storytelling, and the interesting part of the film comes down to that character being like, oh, no, that's wild, you're dumb, I need to dwell on that. And then the world keeps pushing against that character to the point where it's like, I bet, let me go ahead and accept this, let me just let go. And as for those of you who didn't catch that reference, I was talking about Star Wars, Luke Skywalker. When Luke Skywalker is first approached by Obi-Wan, if it was a situation where it was just like, listen, you're a Jedi, you got powers, here's your lightsaber, go save the world, and then he did it, the movie would be less compelling. Luke had to ask questions. He had to be like, well, what about my dad? You know what I'm saying, where did this lightsaber come from? What the hell? Who were you? Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying, these questions and these ideas present options, and these options are what make you be like, well, what would I do? Damn, Darth Vader is my dad. Damn, son, I might want to join this dude, because that's kind of a logical choice. Like, if you're Luke Skywalker and the Dark Emperor of the fucking Galactic Federation pulls up on you and is like, hey, I'm your dad, and you should come hang out with me because I'm your pops, and we can get popping, son. Like, I know the Force. Like, I got mad money. We own a Death Star. Bruh. I can do this. Like, and Luke's like, nah, fam. And he jumps off the shit. That's what made that shit so hot, because in a logical situation, you wouldn't, like, you'd be like, all right, bet. Like, you know what I'm saying? He chopped off my hand. Like, he got me cornered. Like, I clearly I'm about to lose, like, really, really bad. Like, he's my dad. He doesn't seem like that bad of a dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's giving me a chance to live. But the fact that Luke makes that decision to be like, nah, fam, you're evil, even though he doesn't really know him that well, it's the wrong decision. And, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not the right choice when you look at it in hindsight. But it's one of the most iconic moments in TV history, or sorry, film history, period, because of the fact that he really goes against the grain. And it's these moments like this that make TV writing, screenwriting so compelling, is that the characters that you eventually fall in love with make decisions that you wouldn't make. Another prime example, before I get off this topic, are horror films. We all do this when we watch a horror film, and we sit there and we watch so-and-so running through the cabin, and you're like, bro, run outside. And they're like, nah, fam, I'm gonna go down to the basement. And it's like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? No, bruh, don't go to the basement. Go out, and then, you run to the basement. And you still watch, because if you're already yelling at the TV and being like, bruh, go that way, and like, you're already invested into the character, you want to see the character win. You don't want to see the dude get chopped up. You know he's gonna get chopped up because it's a movie. But that's the magic of making movies, is that if you're able to get the viewer into the character, then you're able to really just go in any direction, and you can take that viewer on a ride. It's awesome. So I'm gonna get off this topic now. I want to talk about rappers. But let's read some comments real quick. Daryl says, that's a dope writing exercise. Yeah, man, I suggest you try it. Like I said, I learned that exercise in my very first screenwriting class. And it wasn't even in the film school that I went to. This is at Glendale Community when I was going there, just kind of figuring myself out. Dude taught me that exercise, and my man, it's really, really cool. And it's something that I try to apply in most of my writing, where it's like, I don't necessarily have the first, second, third, or even fifth choice that a character would make. They would make like the sixth choice, because it's the choice that people won't expect. And you don't want your movies to be predictable. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the big part of it too. But yeah, rappers. I want to talk about rappers. So what's funny about when Trump won the election, and then they had the whole inauguration, like, it was so interesting to see the shift of these rappers, like, starting to be like, oh, like, fuck Donald Trump, etc., all that shit. And it just reminds me of, like, back when Bush did his thing, right? And you had rappers like, I don't know, like Immortal Technique, just flourishing, just killing the game. Just everybody was on Immortal Technique's jock because he was out here saying F Bush, etc., and so forth. And then Obama became president, and Immortal Technique went ghost. Like, he just kind of like faded in the background, because you can't talk shit about the black president now, can you? And then, that happened for 8 years. And then, Trump came back, and then Immortal Technique came back with that. And he's just one of many rappers that are like, these revolutionary rappers that kind of only speak on half the revolution. But it became kind of trendy to be like F Donald Trump. and became really trendy to get really involved in politics and be like, oh, you know, we got to change the world and all that stuff. And it's really interesting because I think that that's great, but knowing how fickle and how fluid the rap world is, I think a lot of people are going to be off Biden. We're not going to hear people rapping about politics anymore, at least for the next 4 years. It's kind of sad because just because we got one villain out of the picture doesn't mean that this other dude is not going to create some havoc. But all this remains to be seen. But another prime example too, and this is kind of going off of the rapper thing, but when Dave Chappelle did his now famous monologue on SNL the day after Trump became president, it was one of those moments in like history where it's like, I'm gonna be the first to get my shots in, basically. And even though he kind of gave him a nice little send off, et cetera, and so forth, it's just one of those things where it's like, especially in the minority community, we like to have our targets. And Trump was probably one of the biggest targets of them all. And now that he is fading into dust, like he got snapped out like Thanos, it's going to be interesting to see how that energy gets shifted and where the focus is going to go. There's still a lot of problems in this world, a lot of things that we can be speaking on, plenty of issues that need to be solved. I just really hope that the idea that when we were being super woke and super trendy and speaking on all these matters, that it wasn't just a trend for the sake of the clout. And I bring up Immoral Technique because even though I like some of his music, that's kind of how I feel about him sometimes, in the sense that, like, he did kind of speak on Obama a little bit, but he went really ghost for a long time. And also think about Eminem. Eminem's another prime example, where it's like, Eminem will probably never speak on Obama, right? That would be wild if he did that. But he definitely had no problem speaking up on Trump. Had whole ass diss tracks, did a song with Alicia Keys, dissing the president. Like, going forward, will Eminem keep that same energy with Biden? Or just like any type of negativity or things that need to be spoken on in our world, in our community? My guess is no, he won't, because as dope as it is for our artists to do this, there's not a lot of incentive for them to speak on these issues unless there's eyes on it. Perfect example was when BLM, Black Lives Matter, was going off and motherfuckers were protesting in the streets. I love the song that Lil Baby did. Fantastic song. I'm talking about the Bigger Picture song. Still one of my favorite songs. But now that Biden's in office, are you still going to be doing that? I'm saying you're still going to be speaking on these issues, or are you going to be just doing it for the sake of that sweet, sweet clap? I like to remain optimistic, but I've seen the ebb and flow of how things work in this world. I'm old enough to see the patterns now. I've been through a 20-year cycle, about to go through my next, you know what I'm saying? So I've seen these flows, and it really is going back to like 2000 right now, basically. Oh, no, sorry, not 2000. Back to the mid-90s when Clinton was popping, and rappers were off it because now there's a Democrat in office. I digress, though. How long has this been? Oh, we've only been here for 18 minutes? Dang. This is going to be a short episode. Delwan, I hope that's how you say your name. Appreciate you, man. I used to do like more official shows. I had shows like Morning Motivation, The Air Out, The Heat Check. We were more official. We had graphics and stuff. But this is more like a fundraising exercise for my film, The Bond, which I suppose I could talk about for a little bit before we get out of here. The Bond is doing well. As some of you may know, if you read my posts, I am on quarantine right now. As a result of being on quarantine, we haven't been working on the film. And as far as we know, no one has been on set, has been affected by my exposure. My exposure was more internal, involving my family and things going on our end. And so the film is currently suspended until I get a clear test back. Feeling great. I'm like ready to go back to work, which is kind of sad because I can't yet. So I had to cancel a lot of video shoots, appointments, and stuff like that, just for the sake of safety. Haven't left the house, so yeah, you know, it is what it is. Though I'm just trying to do my part, etc. and so forth. And like I said, I'm doing fine, and I'm trying to be really transparent about that because I don't want people to be freaking out. A lot of people were freaking out when they found out I got it, and it's like, bro, I'm good, super good. I know that's not the case for all people. That's why it's like, you know, blessed up, blessed the fuck up. The kid got it too, but he's fine. He's not even here. He's at his mom's because it's just a whole thing. I don't want to get into it, but we all get it. We all gravy. So, Del Juan, American Skin. I've been hearing about this movie, and I actually might check it out tonight. But what's funny about the American Skin, and this is not even like a dig or anything like that, but it's almost the same exact plot as the movie that I produced called The System. Of course, it's done better because it's a Spike Lee joint, and there's like millions of dollars behind that movie. But if you feel compelled, go check out The System. It's on Amazon Prime, directed by Aaron Daniels, and the similarities are there. Basically, it's almost the same exact plot, except that American Skin ramps it up a lot in terms of the actions and the character decisions made. And that's actually a prime example of what I was talking about at the top of the video. So thank you for mentioning that movie because it fits in perfectly to what I'm talking about in terms of characters making decisions that you wouldn't necessarily do to hold your attention. You want to send me some Movie Go merchandise, inbox me your info. Sure, yeah, send me some shit, dude. I'll wear your t-shirts or whatever. I'm all about showing love to other people out there trying to get it. Pip, pat, pip, pip, pip. But yeah, I'm going to check out American Skin tonight. So, but yeah, also, if you guys haven't checked out the trailer yet, go check out the trailer for The Bond. Also, I'm getting back on my music shit, too. Like, I have this whole album that I've been sitting on for, like, at this point, like, 8 months. It's, like, 80% done. I think I'm going to probably try and get it done here pretty soon. Don't know when I'm going to release it, but just know I got some shit in the can right there, too. And also, since I'm sitting here, I'm going to probably be making some new songs. Maybe you get an Arizona Kanye 4. Probably not. I'll probably call something different. But just know that your kid's still working. Doing aight. Doing good. Pow. Pip, pip, pip. Pat, pat. Combo. Pow. Another combo. Alright, so, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and get the hell up out of here. Like I said, this video is a little bit shorter than usual. Usually I'd be going for 30 minutes, but I don't have much to say anymore. And I got my cool little master class out and my little thoughts on y'all rappers. So I guess that's it. Anyways, Del Juan, thank you. I love your work. Don't ever stop. Appreciate you, man. I'm going to hit you up as soon as I press stop on this video. Once again, check out The Bond. One love to you and yours. Peace.